Welcome to Health Oddity, the show that strips away the jargon and hype surrounding all things health and fitness to help you live a long, strong and energetic life. Lining up at the bar this week, here's Peter Lant, Paul Bassett and James St. Pierre.
Hello and welcome to the Health Oddity podcast, episode 173. And if you are watching on YouTube or, have any way of seeing what we're wearing, you will tell that this is the Christmas special. So if you are watching or listening live, or not live, on the day of release, I should say, it's the 22nd of December. So this is our Christmas special. And obviously, Pete and myself are here today. I'll quickly say before we move on, Mr. Paul Bassett is just going to take a little bit of a back seat for a little while. He's got a lot on, personal life and business life. So he's going to have a little bit of a break from the podcast, but we do hope that he will be back in the future. So that's just to explain why it's Pete and I, both in our festive attire today. I'm wearing something from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and a Santa Claus hat. And Pete is wearing, I think it's his girlfriend's jumper. It's very snug.
I'm wearing something from Sean's wardrobe, yeah. Also, hasn't Sean got really short arms? Look at that. I'm not exactly a guy, but like that's...
Yeah, it's very snug. It's a mistletoe jumper, and he's got a woolly hat on as well. So yeah, we are kind of festive today. Anyway, we are going to be discussing all things that we've been up to recently, things that we're going to be doing potentially over the Christmas period, and how we're going to kind of manage our training and things like that as well. Looking back over the last few weeks' guests and looking forward to some upcoming guests. So it's going to be a very good episode, and we wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas, especially if you are listening on the 22nd or after, over the Christmas period at some stage. So, Mr. Peter Lant, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. The whole point in Christmas stuff is it's meant to keep you warm, right? I mean, you've seen that. You can read, I've got a raw foam thing on through. You can read it through the jumper. I don't know if that's because it's stretched so much. But anyway, there you go. But here's the thing: you don't need to get ripped. You just put on a very, very, very small jumper. Put on your missus's jumper, or if you're a woman, put on a smaller jumper and breathe in. There you go, and then you look,
It's more like a sort of a jumper you might wear to like a bar or something, isn't it? It's not designed for.
I wouldn't wear this to a bar.
No, you wouldn't wear it to a bar. It's not designed for kind of out walking on Boxing Day in the snow or something.
No,
like
I wouldn't. Put it this way: I wouldn't fancy my chances of getting out alive if I wore this to a bar.
Okay, good. No, so I've been seeing what you obviously recently. I mean, recent guests that we've had on. We'll kind of talk back on some of these. Last week we had, Dan and Tim on. We've had Chris Branch on, obviously talking about his 100-mile successful run. We had Sean Cairns on, talking about kind of strength goals for life. We had Will Polston. We've had Phil McDougall. We've had Anthony Flores. We've had some really fantastic guests over the last, couple of months. And been learning some great things and applying some great things. And I've also seen from yourself, you've been really hitting some heavy presses with your kettlebell pressing, and really putting some of your previous PRs and your previous records, to bed, I suppose. You've been doing multiple reps with things that used to be your 1 rep max. So how's training going for you, the kind of back end of the year? Oh, and actually, before we go into training, congratulations. You hit your 6 million step challenge, didn't you? That you set yourself for 2023 as well.
I did. I hit that the day after we recorded Chris's episode.
Yeah, kind of towards the end of November, didn't you? Middle of November, towards the end of November.
So by the 30th of November, let's have a look. I'm just having a look now. It'll be... I've still got a little bit more to do. You'll be able to figure out this is, it's not necessarily the 22nd of September, is it? But I'm on 6,110,500, and I'll do another couple of thousand today. And then, so I've got the whole of December left, and I'm doing more than 500,000 steps. So I'll be on probably 6,750,000 or something. So I've gone way through that. And I'm well happy with that. And the thing about that is, I don't know if I did 6 million a year normally. I doubt it. But just saying that I was going to do it made me walk a little bit further. Like, just each time I go out, I'm like, I'm going to go. I'd give myself a time, because obviously I'd have to be back to do things like this and sessions and stuff like that. But I'd be like, right, I'm going to go out and just add an extra couple of thousand on. And those couple of thousand, obviously, every day adds up to a hell of a lot. So that's like the neat thing that we've talked about in the past, isn't it? And I was talking to someone about this the other day. So when you go to the gym, if you're trying to go to the gym to burn calories, you go to the gym for like 3 hours a week. Whereas if you go out for a walk, you can go walking every day, and that's 7 hours a week easily, without having to get changed and have a shower and drive somewhere and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's surprised me actually how pleasurable it's been.
And what's also excellent is, I know that we obviously don't advocate it at all on this podcast, but I know there's certain people who, if they're looking to get stronger, or possibly through like hypertrophy and get bigger and put on muscle and like you say, get stronger with their lifting, they kind of really tone down any kind of cardio or any exercise that's not really aimed towards getting bigger and getting stronger. So the amount of walking that you've done, I mean, I don't know what average distance kind of walking you'll be doing per day, but it's got to be kind of 6 miles or 10 kilometers, 5 miles at least a day. You've probably averaged to put in that amount of steps over the year.
8 miles a day.
8 miles a day. So yeah, so for people who are worried about potentially hampering or stifling their gains in strength by doing other activities and cardiovascular stuff, Pete's walking an average of 8 miles every single day, and over the last 12 months has increased his strength massively. So yeah, don't scrimp on your steps and your walking and your cardio just because you want to get stronger, because that's not how it works. So yeah, Pete, in terms of your strength recently, I've been seeing you, pressing a 32 like it looks like it's a 20, you know what I mean? So pressing a 32 for did I see you pressed it like, was it 13 or 16 repetitions in one
I've
step?
got 16 with it.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is good to share, because it sounds like we're going to be just talking about me here, but we're not. Obviously, it's not about me. It's about the programming that Paul McElroy's been doing for us, and how effective it's been. Because I've got a dodgy. It's not dodgy, but my left shoulder isn't as strong as my right, and that's because I've fallen on it. And I think I cracked a rib on that side years ago. I fell on it again in January this year, and it's just, it doesn't move as well, shall we say. So it starts to kind of get tight and a bit achy as we move through the weights and do a bit more volume with heavier weight. But my right is absolutely fine. So what we're doing at the moment, and Paul's done this successfully with like loads of people, is we're doing more volume with a lighter weight on the left and then carrying on with the 32 on the right. And it's so what it's done has been really interesting, because I was struggling with my left, it was my central nervous system didn't like it, so therefore it would make it harder on my right as well, because it was just like, I'm not liking this, so we'll just make everything to do with pressing not hurt, but we'll just make it so it's harder. Since we've gone lighter on the left, like honestly, the right has just gone back through the roof. It just loves it. So, and the left has felt loads better as well. So it's not like I'm going uneven. It sounds weird, but I'm doing more volume with a lighter weight on the left, which is, and eventually they'll kind of converge and catch up. And it'll still be obviously a discrepancy, because there always is, isn't there? But it'll get closer. So on my right, 3 years ago, the 32, I could press it once or twice and it would be a grind. Now I'm doing like ladders from 10 down. And then the other day, Well, no, a couple of weeks ago, my half body weight bell is a 36. So I'm like between 72 and 73 kilos. So my half body weight bell is a 36. So I was like, right, I'll have a go with that. I've never done more than 6 with it. And I think I'd done 10, 10, 9, 8, 8, 7 with a 32. And then I thought I'll have a go with the 36 and just see how many I can do. And I got a 9 and I was like, I've got to get to 10. So the last one was a bit of a tough one, but that was towards the end of it. And I'd already done a bunch of pull-ups as well and pistol squats and all of that. So I was like and it was on a Friday. Or was it a Friday or a Monday? Anyway, it doesn't matter. And then, oh no, that was on the Monday. And then on the Friday, so at the end of the training week, similar, I'd done like 10, 9, 8, 7, or 8, 8, 7, 6, or whatever it was. And then for the 5, I thought, well, I'll have a go with a 40. So I just picked it up and pressed it 3 times. And I've never done that before. I've pressed it once before. I've done 1 rep before. And I think have I done that twice? No, I've only done that once, I think. So I got 3 with it. And it felt easy. So there's, for not being pre-fatigued, there'll be loads in that. So then I'd sent those to Paul, and he hasn't said, stop doing these silly things. But was it this week? I think it was the beginning of this week. It might have been. Anyway, I was doing it. And I think I did 10, 9, 9, 8, 7, whatever it was. And I thought, sod it, I'm just going to have a go. I think I got to the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I was like, right, I'm just going to have a go. And so I just pressed it as many times as possible. And I got a 16, and I could have done more actually, but I thought I don't want to ruin the program by going maxing out and hurting something or doing something wrong. So I just did it, and it felt comfortable. Put it down, and I was like, right, wallop, there you go. And then I posted it and didn't send it to him because he's on holiday at the minute. And he's seen it and he's like, can you send us that video so I can post it up? So I've got a load of new goals now set as well. And one of them is to do, he said, how about on the way up to doing the beast tamer, how about getting 32 presses with 32? And then I said, well, that sounds cool, but like, it's not 32 at 32. 32 with 32 at 32 years of age. And I was like, I'm 15 years too old for that. And he goes, well, that's what makes it even better because you're old, basically. And I was like, oh, thanks. So then I said, well, what about 47 with a 32? Because that's how old I am. And he was like, well, yeah, go on then. So we're going to work towards that, apparently.
So that's going to be 47 reps
presses,
in one unbroken set.
Yep.
With 32. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So then I've got that. Then by the time I'm 48, or at 48, do the beast tamer. So like a pistol press and a pull up with the 48. And I think that's the old, I don't know who the oldest person is to do it, but they're not 48. But then
we spoke, didn't we, with Sean the other week? And
yeah.
Sean, like I say, Sean issued you a little, well, not a friendly kind of challenge, wasn't it? Because he said he wanted to be the first person to do it, the heaviest person to do it, and the oldest person to do it, didn't he? So,
well, I was talking to Paul about that, and I mentioned it. So I was like, well, the race is on with Sean now.
Yeah.
But then I've also got a wider goal of because obviously when you're 50, everything within Strong First, say, but everyone you become like a masters athlete, don't you? And all the weights go down.
Yeah.
So my half body weight bell when I'm 50 will be a 28 kilo. So I've said to Paul, why don't we go for, I can do both. I can do the beast tamer, but with a 50, right?
Yeah.
And then try. I said, would it be possible to do a press with 56, which is double the 28? So double the weight. And he just said, well, he goes, in my experience, nothing's impossible. So I was like, right, let's go for it. So that's the next 3 years sorted. So people have asked me, they've said, how do you keep the motivation over that amount of time? And it's like, I pay Paul money and he sends me the program and I've got the goal and that's it. I don't need the motivation is just to do it every day or every 3 times a week, as the program says. But some days I don't want to do it. Some days feel better than others. A few weeks ago, everything just felt really heavy. And then all of a sudden it's all got lighter. So it's, it works. It's just
this is interesting because this is actually quite good because we can move into a kind of conversation that I've had recently. I did a video for my members because we run a program called Pure Strength, which is it's based on the push, pull, the hinge, and the squat. So it runs for a certain number of weeks, usually 7 weeks, but the last run we've done for 14 weeks. And it's the same 4 exercises done over that number of weeks. And the sets and the rep ranges change, but the exercises stay the same. And I had a couple of conversations with members who, I suppose they were like a bit despondent, a bit frustrated, a bit demotivated because they feel like they should be getting stronger quicker, and being able to lift more and that sort of thing. So I did a bit of a video for the members, really talking about the different ways that you can measure progress with your strength training, and this is all going to kind of make sense in a minute. But one of the first one, and I can't remember where I've seen this at various places before, but the first kind of level of progression, if you like, is improving your technique in a lift, So it's kind of, I suppose, trying to get away from just purely looking at the number, the 1 rep max number, you've got the improvement in the technique, then you've got doing the same load for the same number of sets and reps, but at a lower RPE. So it just feels easier. Then you've got maybe the same load with an improved technique, a lower RPE, and then an increased volume. So you're doing more sets and reps with the same weight. And then the last level of progression I said was actually, adding more weight to the bar or having a heavier kettlebell. And then one I forgot to talk about was training density, which is doing the same amount of work in less time. So I was trying to give this kind of, I suppose, like a bit of a spectrum of different ways that you could assess or feel that you were making progress over and above just lifting more, and something I read, and I can't remember where I read it the other day, which was really nice. It might have been on a post, an Instagram post, but it was like, strength is a range. It's not a number. You know what I mean? And from what you've just, what I love about what you said with your training, and I know what Paul says, and Paul McElroy will be coming back on the podcast in the new year, is that, if your any rep max goes up, then your every rep max goes up, which is one of the things that he says. And like you said, you'd not touched a 40 kilo bell for months and months and months, and you'd only ever pressed it once before, and then you picked it up and you pressed it 3 times, and like you say, going for the 16 reps with 32. So I'm really trying to get across to people, and for myself as well, I think, because you can kind of, if you do get stuck in this kind of mental rut of, I've got to increase my my 1 rep max number and my all out effort number, you just get stuck in that rut, don't you? Of that's all you focus on, and you kind of lose all of the range of strength that you can develop over a range of reps and a range of exercises and all the rest of it. I mean, because you very rarely now, I mean, never, from what I understand, really test a 1 rep max, do you?
No. I've no interest. Because like everything you just said there, Paul's thing is like, you train within comfort until your comfort zone envelops the goal. So if my goal was a 1 rep max with a 40 kilo, I've gone through that, because it was a 32. So it's gone up by 25%, my 1 rep max, but I can press the 40 probably for 5 relatively easily, which means the 48's not far off. So that's one of the things you might see people do Beast Tamer or Iron Maiden. They'll grind it through. But Paul's idea is, once you get there, you'll do it and you'll press the bell and be like, well, I could have done 3 with that. You'll do the pull-up and go, well, I could have probably done another one. And you'll do the pistol and you can do it on each leg or whatever. And I'd rather that than grind through it and be like, I did it, and then forget about it and never be able to do it again. I'd rather be able to do it next week and the week after and the week after. So that's kind of the philosophy behind that. But what you've just said there, I mean, it's such a massive topic. I wrote down, because you see it in newspaper headlines and stuff like that, don't you? Any statistic can be made to look good or bad. Any statistic that you have, you could have 1% of people are this. That's a low statistic. And in a news headline, it'd be like, that's really low. But in another news headline, it's increased from 1% to 2%. It's doubled. That's 200%. which could then be made to look like a bad number because it's some bad things doubled from 1% to 2% or whatever, right? So they can all be made to look good or bad. So you can take any training session and you can say, right. So at the minute for me, my pistols aren't going very well. They feel like turd, to be honest. But I'm getting really much better at my pull-ups and my presses. On my right, my left's catching up. And that's a win. A few months ago, my pistols were the things that were feeling great, and my presses were the things that were getting me, like, making my sessions feel hard. So it'll probably happen again, but it doesn't matter as long as in fact, it doesn't even matter how it feels as long as I do it, and it's not injuring me. That's all that matters, and it's not affecting my life and making it harder to go walking and basically do work and stuff like that. But that's kind of it. But like you said, it's a huge thing as well because my pistols have been feeling a bit rubbish. So I was like, well, is it my hip mobility? So I did a bunch of hip mobility the other day. I did some hip mobility exercises because I don't do that much mobility.
Oh, I think I saw you doing that. Yeah, with the
and they were fine.
Yeah.
They were fine. So I was like, okay, so it's just maybe it's in my head. Maybe it's every time I pick the bell up, I'm going, this is going to be hard. So therefore it is because, the story that you tell yourself is what shows up. So it's like, there's all these things and progress is on the other side of all of them, isn't it? That's the thing. You can see progress within it, however you look at it. But then you can also see that, well, my pistols aren't feeling great at the moment. And it's quite funny because a guy who showed up to one of the sessions the other day, he is 3 weeks older than me, right? And he had a sore Achilles and he doesn't know why. And he was like, it's because I'm 47, innit? I was like, shut up. It's not. I was like, you're 3 weeks older than me. I'm 47. And it's not that. Because as soon as you think that, it'll become that. So no. Stop it.
I was training a member, Tara, earlier, I think she's 53, 54, something like that. And she said she was out having lunch with someone like the other day, another friend the same age. And Tara kind of tweaked her back a couple of weeks back, and it's fine now. But you train, you start, you exercise, you train, you're going to get the occasional thing, that happens, and her friend had kind of said to her, oh, don't you think you're a bit too old now to be doing all this sort of stuff, and to doing this training? And I just, this kind of notion that as soon as you're in your 50s or your 60s, that you should just do some gentle gardening and go for a little walk every now and then, and that's kind of it. It's just ridiculous. But I think that's a very, very commonly held kind of, if usually if you say to someone, oh, I've got a little bit of elbow, very little bit, it's nearly gone, tendonitis, in the elbows last few weeks, and which is why I've been doing any pressing, I've been wearing some like sleeves on my elbows just for a bit of compression. But you tell someone that and it's like, oh, it's because you're doing too much training. You should stop doing that now. You're doing too much. You need to do and it's just the kind of the excuse just to do nothing, and if you do nothing, then you go downhill very, very quickly, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things I've been talking about for ages, about the whole subconscious mind talking you out of stuff, your own subconscious mind. But then when you've got other people telling you that you probably shouldn't be, and it's mainly because they don't, you'd never get or rarely get
someone who trains trying to talk you out of training.
You probably shouldn't be doing that. They might say, oh, you might need to take a step back. You probably want to drop the weight slightly or whatever, but they're never going to say, oh, you want to give up because of your age. It's because it's not that, is it? And I've said that a lot in the past, of people judge you based on their own limitations. So, it's someone will say, well, that's unnecessary. And it's like, well, you think it is, but I don't. And it doesn't hurt. It doesn't affect me apart from getting stronger. And I was talking to a guy about it on Tuesday night, actually. And he's in his 60s. A guy who came to see me. He did, he started coming about a year ago. He thought a 12 kilo bell was heavy. He can do 5 reps with a 24 kilo now, pressing it above his head. Which for strong first, if he's in his 60s, like that would be a 20, but he can do the 24. He can probably press a 28. We've never even tried because there's no need yet. But I was saying to him, we were just having a chat about this because he's done a lot of rowing in the past. So cardio wise, he's brilliant, but strength wise, he needed a bit of work. And we were just talking about how strong is too strong. And it's like, well, if you're getting stronger, there's no point in saying, well, that's strong enough. I might as well stop. And it doesn't mean to lift heavier weights. You might as well just keep training. And if you get stronger as a result of that, then, there's no issue, is there?
Again and again, and it's what you just said there. You can, how strong is too strong, and you can get stronger, but you don't necessarily need to get, like you just said, you don't necessarily need to be lifting heavier weights to get stronger. You can build up the volume with the same weight, or do more repetitions, or do more sets, or whatever, or do it with more ease, or be able to do it more regularly, more often, be able to do it with less rest, all these kind of things. I saw one of your guys, actually, I think you posted it, who was doing like 32 kilo presses and made it look so easy. I think I might have commented on the post, but
that's Byron. He's upside down.
Okay.
His head's upside down, a bit like yours, because he's bald with a beard.
Okay.
But his body's upside down as well, because he's got arthritic knees. So like and he's got a weird thing with his toes where he can bend them like all the way back like that to touch his foot.
Right. Okay.
The top of his foot. They're really support, like he's
So they're really lax. They're sort of hypermobile.
Hypermobile, yeah. So his ability to grip the ground is quite hard, and he's got arthritic knees, which might be a result of that. I don't know. But he can squat quite heavy. His knees are fine, and he can do that. But his upper body, he's just much stronger upper body. He's got massive shoulders. He's like really wide. So a 32 for him is nothing. But he's in his 50s as well.
I was gonna say he was pressing that like 20. It just up and down, up and yeah. No, it was fantastic.
He's the we've talked about this the other day with a few of my guys. He's like the outright strongest one, but then pound for pound strongest one. This guy called Steve, who's 57, and he presses a 24 like it's nothing for reps, and he's tiny. There's no on him, And then there's there's another guy, Johnny, who's really tall, and he's got massively long arms and hugely long legs. I've spoken about him before, actually. He's not weird, but it's just quite funny, because if we sat down, he's the same height as me. But when we stand up, he's like 6'5", because his legs are really long and he's got a short body, right?
Yeah.
Because we've spoken about this before, like Mark Rifkin's got long arms, hasn't he? And what have you. So it's like, it's all different limb lengths. But I found a video of him trying to press a 28 a couple of, like 5 years ago or something like that. And he got it on one side, missed the other, then got it, but he made it look really hard. And now he does it no problem. So, there's all these different kind of, it looks like everyone's doing the same thing, but they're all doing it in a slightly different way. Because that's the other thing you get, don't you, with, like we were talking about in the past as well, with variety. And people are like, I need to do a load of variety, because otherwise, like, you've got to shock your body and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, but, you can do same exercises slightly differently, can't you? Like a pistol squat's slightly different to a squat, a kettlebell double bell front squat's different to a goblet squat, which is different to a back squat, which is different to a it's like, it's all the same movement though, isn't it? So it's just coming out.
I mean, I had I trained a guy, Paul, this morning, first thing, who's about, again, he's mid 50s, maybe 54, 55, and it was freezing cold this morning, so it was like -2. Yeah, it was -2 first thing this morning, and the gym wasn't much warmer than that, to be honest. It was freezing.
I've been to your gym in December when Phil McDougall, when it snowed as well.
Yeah,
that was because swinging Indian clubs doesn't really warm you up that much, does it? Bloody hell!
Yeah. But just what you were saying about doing things slightly differently. So it was really cold, and he's quite good now at doing put chin ups. He's got himself a chin up bar at home, actually, which is really good, because he's put it out where his bins are on the outside of his house, on the wall. So every time he goes outside, I've got him doing this grease the groove, where if he goes to put anything out, he'll just jump up and do 2 or 3 chin ups, and he's just been doing these 2 or 3. And then we've got this thing now that 4 is the new 3. So he can do 4 like really easily now as well. So he just does 4. And this morning, because it was so cold, all we did was, and it was something I was listening to Joe DeFranco's Industrial Strength show on the podcast, and he was talking about just picking like 3 exercises and setting a timer for 10 minutes and just doing these and just doing them for 10 minutes. And so we had 3 chin-ups, 5 goblet squats with like a 16, and then 3 press-ups. And I said to him, we're just going to do this for 10 minutes, going from the 3 chin-ups to the 5 goblet squats to the 3 press-ups. And you have as much rest or as little rest as you need to know that you can do the next set well and get all your reps, And doing that for 10 minutes, I think he went round 8 times. So we ended up doing 24 chin-ups, 24 press-ups, and 40 goblet squats in 10 minutes, And he was really warm, but every technique every repetition was perfect. You know what I mean? 'Cause you're only doing 3. He's not going anywhere near fatigue. So that was really good. So just having those kind of, but that's still, it's a chin up, it's a press up, it's a goblet squat. They're basic exercises. But like you say, the way that you can put them together, or the way that you can structure them, or the way you can superset them, or you can do ladders, or you can do reverse ladders, or whatever you do, or you can do like every minute on the minute or whatever, it's limitless, really. So this variety of training, it's one of the things I said in the video I recorded for the guys was, I'm planning on training for the next 50 plus years, It doesn't need to be that I'm going to have another 100 different exercises that I learn, because the basics are what work, and I don't get bored doing the basics, and doing them well and seeing improvement. So I think it's good.
It's funny actually, because the guy I was talking about, the 60, he's 61 or 62. So when he joined, a 12 was heavy. Now he's pressing a 20 for ladders, down from 10. So you can press a 20 10 times, no problem. You can press a 24 5 times, like I mentioned earlier. And then the other week, so we'll do like 3 sessions a week, and we'll tend to focus on pressing and pulls, do like renegade rows and stuff like that one day. And then squats the other day, we'll do like Bulgarian squat, split squats he's doing some lunges with the bell in the rack. He was doing it with the bell down here, which is easier, but then now he's holding it in the rack, and he found it really hard in the beginning, but now it's getting easier. And he's doing a ladder up of that while he does a ladder down of double bell front squats, right? And then on the 3rd day, we might do some snatches or something like that, a bit more kind of like conditioning type stuff. And the other week, a 16 would have been heavy for him when he started. We got a 16, and we just did swing, snatch, clean, press, squat, each side. Rest, then 2 each side, then 3, 4, went up to 5, and then back down to 1, 3, and we just did that for a bit. And I was like, how does that feel? And he was like, oh, it just felt like a nice little reset session. And I was like, you wouldn't have been able to go anywhere near that a year ago. You wouldn't have been able to even do it. And now it's just something you do. And he was like, oh, it felt like everything was moving nicely and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, well, there you go then. So you've got stronger. And that what would have been impossible now feels like just something you could do tomorrow again for just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
So, and what you were saying about all the different types of measuring stuff, my sessions are now getting shorter with the heavier weights. They were getting long. Like at the beginning, I was like, blimey, this is taking ages. And now they get done in 2/3 of the time that they were like a month ago, even certainly 2 months ago. So that's it's the same stuff. It doesn't feel any it doesn't necessarily feel easier, but it's getting done quicker, which means it is easier. So so your central nervous system is watching all this as well, and it knows. Yeah.
I was just reading. I'm reading as well. I've got this Outlive. The Peter Attia.
Oh, yeah.
Have you read that one yet? Or
I haven't. No.
It's very, very good. But I just shared. I'm going to share a thing which I've just done as a Canva, which again just kind of tying back into. I mean, we've spoke a lot about. I mean, I've mentioned her a lot on this show before. Edith, who's in a kind of mid 60s. Lots of people now in their 70s that we train, and there was a quote that I'm going to put it out on Instagram a bit later on, but it says that, and I wasn't sure. It says the data are unambiguous, and I would have thought it would be the data is unambiguous, but I'm sure it is.
Data is like a plural.
Oh, yes, I'm sure he's done it right. He's a doctor and he would have known. But yeah, so the data are unambiguous. Exercise not only delays actual death, but also prevents both cognitive and physical decline better than any other intervention. Because he was saying in the book that previously he was thought it was all about diet, or not all about diet, but he put diet as sort of like the main thing to focus on, for your health and for your longevity. And now he still says it's very important. He doesn't say it's not important, but all the studies and what he is kind of talking about is the actual exercise and activity and being physically active and physically mobile actually sort of supersedes the. And it's not saying that, he talks about exercise and diet and sleep and everything is important, but he would have previously put diet ahead of exercise, but now he kind of puts exercise just ahead of diet, in terms of the importance that it has, in your longevity. Don't know what you were kind of looking as if you were thinking about that.
I was, because I'm obviously not a doctor, and I haven't done all the research on it and all of that, but just from that immediate thing, it's like, well, because it goes back and forth, doesn't it?
Mm.
And obviously he knows what he's talked about, and he's written the book on it and all that, and I don't know what he's done previously, as in before it was all diet. Was it all diet, or did he think it was exercise before that as well? Because that goes in the same cycles as HIIT training and strength training and bodybuilding and all that. They all go in cycles, don't they? And I think certainly since I've been training people for the last 10 years, it was all about exercise. And then it was like, oh, well, actually, you think you can out train a bad diet? No, you can't. And then that comes in, and then it's all about diet. And then it's actually, well, no, because you can do that. But if you focus on diet too much, you lose too much weight and you'll get brittle bones and blah, blah, and all this. So it's like, it's all of it, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I don't think
anyone is more important than the other in my head. I mean, it might be in the research.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It's definitely not an either or. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're all important and they all need to be focused on. But I think from the studies and things he's talking about is that the actual, and it's not bodybuilding. It's it is walking and maintaining mobility and doing maintaining muscle mass and bone density, and it's kind of all of that. And it's not at an extreme level, but he's kind of they're all important, don't get me wrong, but he just kind of thinks that above any other individual intervention that you can make is has the most impact if you can remain
maybe it's
more active, I should say.
Yeah, maybe because it promotes you to eat better as well. If you do that, your body then starts to crave the things it needs to be able to do that, doesn't it? Because I certainly know that. I mean, I'm nearly done on all my supplements actually, which is great. I had shitloads of them for a while, but I'm coming towards the end of those, and maybe this is why I've been hitting good numbers in weight and stuff like that, because like gut problems that I've had are better. So I certainly know that if you don't eat healthily and your gut's not kind of on your side, shall we say, that affects you hormonally as well, doesn't it? And weight affects you hormonally and all that, which then affects how you train.
And also with the gut stuff, like you're saying, so much stuff I'm reading and listening to at the moment is around, the calories in, calories out kind of model of weight gain or weight loss. But they're talking about, what you're taking in and what you're sort of absorbing and able to utilize is not the same thing. So if your gut health is not right, and your gut lining and the rest of it, if you're not able to actually digest and process and break down food and then bring it into the bloodstream, then you can be eating what you think is a good diet, or you can be eating lots of protein, or you can be eating lots of, but if you're not actually absorbing it and utilizing it properly, then it doesn't, it only shows a part of the picture, doesn't it?
And that goes with chewing your food as well. Because Caitlin, the lady who the dietitian lady, was saying, do you chew your food? Because things like you know, chia seeds, flax seeds, all those sorts of things. She was like, the best thing to do with them is just blend them up in a smoothie because you don't chew them. They just go in and then they come out. A
Yeah.
lot of them will, and they don't get absorbed. If you blend them up, then, you know, they get absorbed into your stomach line and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I found that really interesting because I don't necessarily wolf my food down. I don't eat fast, but I don't eat that slowly either. Like, you know, the Josh Hillis thing about putting your fork down and all that. So,
because there's something like how again, I won't even try and pick a percentage because I'm plucking it out of the air, but there's a percentage, isn't there, of the kind of the digestion process that starts in the mouth, you know, that starts with chewing, you know, and
it triggers it triggers all sorts to go on in your brain to say, right, food's coming.
Yeah. And also, and like you say, actually breaking down like especially things like, you know, plant-based stuff, vegetable-based stuff that's kind of fibrous and in husk and takes breaking down, you know, if you're not, like you say, if you're just wolfing it down and you're not breaking it down with your teeth and breaking down the fibers, you put it into your body and your body doesn't really digest it as well if you've not kind of done the job that the chewing's meant to do, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And also chewing's good for your jaw muscles. Because like, you know, it affects the shape of your face and all of that sort of stuff. Like, you know, but what I find fascinating about what you just said there is all of this happens. It's not the chewing, you've got to do that obviously, but everything you just said there, your body prepares itself for all of this stuff coming and it knows what you're eating as well. It happens without you even realize it. You've got no concept of that happening. It just happens. And it's, I find that fascinating because that goes with like all the mindset stuff and everything that you think about, how people go through their day, all of that stuff, it all happens on autopilot and you're totally unaware of it. And then people wonder why they're tired all the time. They wonder why, you know, they can't sleep. They wonder why when they train, they feel lethargic and all of that. And it's like, if you're unaware of all of this stuff going on, like even just putting something in your mouth and your body gets ready to digest it, you don't know that's happening. All of the other stuff that you don't know that's happening, you just think, no, it's just because I'm tired. It's fine. This will be, you know, it'll pass and all of that. It's so beneficial to get to know as best you can cycles that happen within your daily life. And then you can start to recognize what makes you feel good, what makes you feel bad. And then you can start to work on them. And that's like taking this to a bit of a further degree, but it's like, it's the same for like every process that you go through, isn't it? Not just eating, but exercising as well. If you get out of bed and you feel sluggish and you don't want to go, it's like, well, why is that? Have you been did you think about it when you went to bed last night? Did you set your alarm or did you just go, I'll just get up and go? Or I don't want to go, but I'll go to sleep now anyway, and then I'll go in the morning. And that's, you're not going to sleep well doing that because your brain's going to be on autopilot saying, well, you don't want to go. So just silly little things like that. I mean, I've even noticed it myself. So I have to get up to do sessions with the guys in the park 3 days a week, and then do the walk on a Saturday as well. So I set my alarm for that. The other days, so Sunday I don't set an alarm. Wednesday, Thursday, Sean gets up to go to work at a different time, and I don't have to get up to do sessions. I still have to get up, obviously, but I've found that I sleep better on a Tuesday night and a Wednesday night because it's not my alarm that's going to go off, it's hers, and she has to get up. Yeah. So and it's not because I don't care whether she gets up and makes it to work or not, but I'm like, that load is off me. And it's not like I sleep badly the other nights. I think I wake up earlier because I know my alarm's going to go off. Whereas on those days, I'm like, it's out of my hands. And that's not even a big thing. That's something so small, but it makes a massive difference.
Yeah. No, it's so interesting, isn't it? And no, I think I'm away this coming weekend. Well, not this coming weekend, it's Christmas, but you know, I'm going down to Norfolk on my own for a weekend. I did it last year. I'm going to do some swimming in the sea, and I'm going to take that book Outlive and read some more of that. I'm going to take the Will Polston book again, the North Star Thinking, and make some notes and just do thinking. And like you say, just try and I said this to someone at the gym yesterday. They said, oh, where are you off to the weekend? I said, I'm going down to Sheringham for the weekend. What? Who with? Well, on my own. Really? What are you doing that? You know, and so many people, a few people actually say to me, oh, I couldn't do that because I'd I'd be lonely, or I'd be bored, or I'd be, and that's kind of why I like to do it just one weekend a year, because it's away from all distractions. You know what I mean? I've got no one else. My time is not being kind of pulled in any direction. I've got all day just for a couple of days just to go and have a swim in the sea, to go and get a nice coffee, to sit and read a book, you know what I mean? And just to think. And one weekend a year, I don't think it's a lot to ask of yourself, you know what I mean? Or even if it's a day, whatever, just to try and really think about, because I like you've been saying a lot lately, my life probably is just run on autopilot 99% of the time. And I don't really, and many of us don't really stop and actually think, well, I'm doing all this. Is this really what I want to do? Or could I be doing things a little bit differently? Or am I really happy the way things are going? Or can I slightly change the way I'm doing things? Or so it's just that need to just get away, bit of peace and quiet, review. I'm
I love that, because especially when people have said to you as well, like, I couldn't do that because because I get bored. What they mean is, and I don't know what they mean, because I don't know everyone, and I don't know how they think, and I certainly don't know who said that to you. But
yeah.
what that says to me is, I couldn't do that because my thoughts would be going mental around my head of about life and all of this, and I'd have to either try and quiet them or acknowledge them or whatever. And I was talking in the group I'm part of, actually, a few weeks ago, and Brian, the guy who runs it, was saying, that's one of the things, like, when people are at home, say, and they're doing a bit of work or whatever, or they're cooking, and they're like, oh, I have to have the radio on, or I have to have the TV on in the background as a bit of company. That's the thing, isn't it? Like, oh, I'll have that on. It's a bit of company. It's like, no, you have that on because it means you don't have to think about anything. You don't have to be in your head. So when you're cooking or whatever, if it's silent while you're doing it, you could be thinking, about life or whatever, and your direction of vision, and like what you want to do and who you want to be and goals and all that. And that might sound like people might look at that and think, well, who the hell wants to do that? And it's like, yeah, but I do that when I'm out walking the dog. I think about things. I was doing, like, that's where the 50-year-old 50 kilo thing and 56 kilo came. I was out on a walk and I was like, what am I going to do when I get the beast tamer? Because it's getting, I mean, it might be a year away, but I'm like, it's getting close. And then what happens? It's done. And then what? So I've already thought about that. So, but if I was listening to, like,
or people plug into like, they just listen to Spotify or listen to music, don't they, when they're out walking?
Exactly. If I was doing that, then all I'm doing, like, if you're listening to the podcast while you're doing that and all that, all you're doing is filling your head with more bloody stuff rather than trying to organize the stuff that's already in there. And there's a funny story, because yesterday I was out with a boy, and there's a golf course up where we were walking, and it's next to the university. There was a lad walking along with his, he was a student with his massive bag on, strapped on his back, and one of the sleeves fell off his club. Is that what you call them? Off the top?
Yeah, golf. Yeah.
And I saw it fall off, so I picked it up, and he was slightly ahead, and I was shouting after him, and I was whistling everything. He couldn't hear me because he had his headphones in, his earphones in, and I was bellowing. I've got a loud voice as well. I was bellowing, like, I can whistle with my fingers and everything, and I was just like, I was dancing around in the background. And he happened to look that way, and he kind of must have saw me out the corner of his eye, and he went like that, and I was like, "Is this yours?" And he went. And he pulled his ear thing out. I went, sorry, I think it is. I couldn't hear.
Sorry,
you.
I was miles away. Yeah.
And it was like, it just, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But I was thinking, like, what happens if, we're near some woods and stuff like that? What happens if someone's broken their leg and they're shouting for help? Like, and everyone's walking around with them in their ear. You're not going to, like, nobody's going to hear it. So you could be in the middle of somewhere that was surrounded by people and not be able to get any help. It's crazy. It's not crazy, but it just makes these are the things I think about when I'm out and about walking.
Do we? So what we'll do, Pete, we'll start to wrap up now. I think we've been on for nearly an hour, but obviously over the next week or so, Christmas, you're away, I believe, are you? You're going to be away for a few days.
Yeah, it's just the three of us, me, Sean, and the boy. And the dog. The boy's the dog, by the way. No, we haven't got any kids, but we were going to go to Guernsey, but you can't. Well, it's quite hard to get there this year because we can't fly because we've got the dog. and you have to get the ferry, but there's only like 12-hour ferries on, and we'd have to leave them in the car for 12 hours in the hold in the
Yeah.
park
Yeah.
bit.
Underneath. Yeah.
So we're not going to do that. So we're going somewhere near Bude, I think.
Okay. Nice.
For a week, so nice walks and beaches and all that sort of stuff.
And
So,
will that be taking your bell with you as well and doing your
of course
program? Yeah.
Of
Brilliant.
course. Yep. Whatever I'm on that week, I'll be taking it with us and doing it. Yeah. What about you?
I'm working. So I've got a couple of one of Russ, one of the trainers, is off all week, so I'll be off. Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and then working the rest of it. But I'll just be kind of training through, and have probably some shorter days and things like that. But yeah, just kind of stay on track with the training and things, really, because I've got some goals, obviously, that I'm still working towards and working towards stuff for next year. So I've just done the SFL strong first, so I'm having kind of like a week off from training, and then back on it again from next week. So no, I'm looking forward to that, and looking forward to kind of hitting the ground running in January as well. I like Christmas and New Year. I like that kind of time for kind of, I suppose, reflection, for resetting what you're going to achieve the next year, and for kind of just getting your mind in the right place to kind of start the year. So no, it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
I was just thinking as well. How did Lauren get on?
Yeah, I was going to actually say we're going to do a couple of well dones, I think, because I know you're going to maybe mention Jed as well. Yeah, so I think she came second. She got a silver medal in her kind of category. With the so just for people listening, so we've just recently last weekend had the IKMF kettlebell sports world championships in Budapest in Hungary. And Lauren, we've had a few people from the show, really, isn't it? Lauren Emery, Ben Morris, Finbar Tulan, Ollie Mel, all these guys competing. Yeah. So, but no, Lauren did really well. She got a competition PB. She got her candidate for Master of Sport, CMS, what it stands for. She got that, and she got placed silver in her category, which was great. Finbar won gold. He won his category.
He got a world record as well.
Yeah, he got world record. He got gold in his. So he's world champion again. So he's done brilliant. I think Gareth Malloy, I think Kevin Duong both got silver in theirs.
I saw that. I didn't see anything from Gareth for a few days, and I thought, I wonder what's happened there.
But again, he got like a personal record. I think he did better than he's ever done. But
I know he posted someone else. I'm like, who beat him? Who's the machine who beat? Like, because he's a beast.
Yeah, just one person obviously was just a little bit better. So
that's amazing.
Did it. But yeah, no, Ben Morris. Obviously, I haven't really seen. I know he had something. Maybe go.
Yeah, I've texted him, and I need to get back to him. Actually, he said he's recovering and stuff like that. So I don't think it went fully according to plan. But I think he got COVID like the week before he went.
He did, yeah. He wasn't well just a week before. So, but no, it's great to see all those guys, and obviously, and the SFL just gone. Emma Gray, Matt Sales from Unique Results went and did that. They've just got the 1 rep max bench to pass. They passed everything else. And you want to give a shout out to Jed, don't you, as well? I think.
Yeah, Jed, the legend that is Jed. Yeah, he was there as well, and he missed the bench, didn't he?
Yeah, only the bench. He's got to do.
He got.
And I saw he recerted his level 1 while he was there. He recerted his SFB while he was there,
and his level 2. He recerted everything. So if he gets, he
like
said this, so I might be wrong because I'm pretty sure they might have changed stuff. But if he gets his bench press within the next 6 months or whatever it is to send it in, he becomes elite. It'd be great, which is great because we only started training. He bought a set of. He trains in his back garden, right? He's dead funny. He's a window cleaner, right? And you can see, with the hoses in between sets, he'll run up and get the hose and like put it into the next thing. Yeah, then they go on the back of the van to clean windows and stuff. It's hilarious to watch, and he's got a big gazebo outside where he keeps his weights underneath and all of that. But he only bought a barbell and a set of plates about 4 months ago because he was like, I've got the SFL in November. And I was like, okay, well, do you want to start training for that then? Because he never told me. So I was like, right, when is it? And kind of like looked at when it was, backtracked from there and went, right, let's see where you're at. So he bought some plates and a barbell and everything, and he started from there. And then he went through it and didn't get he doesn't do bench press ever. So he started doing that and he got close. So he'll get it. And he got the deadlift and he got.
No, he was great. I was sat opposite him at dinner on the Saturday night, and he was hilarious. He's just telling us stories, and everyone was cracking up. You know, he's just a funny guy. You know,
he's brilliant. Yeah, he's great.
Right, okay, guys. So over the next couple of weeks, we've got some great guests coming up. We've got let me just try and think off the top of my head. Next week we have got I think we've got Alison Young coming up. We've got Fabio Zonin back on. We've also got Pav Johal coming on as well, who's the Strong Mum Project, who's powerlifting and high rocks and all that sort of stuff. Alison Young, who's coming on, is she won the Tactical Strength Challenge, the last Tactical Strength Challenge globally. She's fantastic, strong lady from London. So we've got some fantastic strong ladies coming up, and we've got Fabio coming back on. We're gonna have Paul McElroy coming back on to join us as well. So we've got some really great guests to kick off 2020.
Did you say we had Mac coming on as well?
Oh, Mac, yeah, Mac. It's not Mac McCarthy, is it? It's Mac
McLaren.
Mac McLaren, Tartan Warrior as well. I think he's 3 times world's disabled strongman from Scotland. So we're gonna get Mac on as well. He'll be great to have him on the podcast, because like I say, he's someone we met who's amputee, former, obviously military veteran as well. But I think he actually only had his leg amputated earlier this year, which was incredible, which I saw, and he's obviously been competing in World's Strongest Man and stuff like that. So yeah, we're gonna have Mac on as well, which will be great.
He's got one of the best prosthetic legs I've seen as well. It's got like band names all over it. Is it a Metallica one or something like that?
Yeah, something like that, isn't it? Yeah. No, he's a great guy. So yeah, we'll get Mac on as well. So some fantastic guests to look forward to kind of in January and February 2024. So all that is left to be said is hope you all have a fantastic Christmas, a fantastic New Year. If you're going to train, enjoy it and train. If you're going to have a bit of a rest, have a rest and get back on it in January and just enjoy yourself. We're not these people who, you have to be a monk all over Christmas and New Year. If you want to have a couple of beers and enjoy yourself, do that. And then hopefully January, get straight back on it and be focused. So please do like, share, subscribe. Leave a review if you are watching or listening on a platform that allows you to do so. We are trying to increase our reach on YouTube. So if you can go onto YouTube, give us a subscribe. That would be much appreciated. And obviously we do have healthoddity.com with every single episode on there in audio and visual that you can go on and check out. So have a happy Christmas, Pete.
Yep, you too. Merry Christmas, and Merry Christmas to everyone out there. We appreciate you all.
Yeah, thank you so much again, guys, for listening and supporting us throughout 2023. And we look forward to seeing you more in 2024. And there will obviously be an episode next week on Friday the 29th, I think it is. Friday the 29th, in between Christmas and New Year, there'll be an episode out as well. And then we will see you back next year, 2024. Have a fantastic Christmas. Have a fantastic New Year. And we will see you next week. Until then, bye-bye.
You've been listening to Health Odyssey with Peter Lant, Paul Bassett, and James St. Pierre. To get your regular fix of hype-free health, you can subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can find out more on today's and other topics at healthodyssey.com or find us on Facebook or Instagram by searching for Health Odyssey.